Still on the ruling of the Supreme Court from yesterday, where it is stated that the Supreme Court had stated that it was unconstitutional for state governments to hold funds allocated for local government administrations. And I'm joined now by two gentlemen. One is a legal luminary that is joining me via Zoom from Port Harcourt. Oh, I believe he is yet to join, but we have our guest right here in the studio, who is Dr. Aliyu Iliyas. He is an economic analyst. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us on Business Daily this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Doctor, let's just start off with your reaction to that. And how will this impact, the state of development, especially at state levels and local government levels going forward?
Right, I think it's a precursor for development in local government, because their problem will be directly attended to. Perhaps everything has to do with priority. The governor might have his own priority, while the local government might have its own priority. But if it's now directly to the state government, I think that will help governance at that level, whereby salary will be paid on time. Then the pressing infrastructure challenge will also be attended. So I think it's a good thing to happen. You will recall that successive government have tried to really get to this level, but I think this is a good direction. We hope federal government will also follow it up to a logical conclusion.
But I would like for us to touch briefly on, the impact on state economies, especially, how state governments might have to adjust their budgets and financial strategies moving forward, away from having, power or holding rights to the finances for local government areas. So what changes do you anticipate from state governments?
Well, there is not much changes that I expect. The only thing is that the governor will not have the total power as it used to be. It's only that he has to bring them together, because it's still the same allocation going to the same state, the same development in the same state. Perhaps even state is domiciled in a local government. So it's a very easy thing for government. Perhaps we have seen some governors who actually allow the allocation to go to local government directly, and nothing happened. In fact, those states seem to be more developed than the states that the governor holds sway to the fund.
So in your own opinion, you're saying that we expect to see, development trickle down into, the grassroots areas.
Right, it's quite clear. Local government is very, very close to the people. The secondary, the primary school is under local government. A lot of local government workers are under that. So it will trickle and to have economic impact, whereby the people's purchasing power around that place will be better, and the infrastructure, critical infrastructure, will be attended to.
Well said, Dr. Aliyu Iliyas, who is an economic analyst. But there is still so much more to come, but this conversation will continue after the break, so do stay. And you're still watching Business Daily, coming to you live on Trust TV. And just before the break, we started a conversation on the ruling by the Supreme Court on Thursday, stating that it was unconstitutional for state governors to hold funds that are allocated for local government administrators. And I still have my guest here with me, who is an economic analyst, Dr. Aliyu Iliyas. Thank you again, Doctor, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, Doctor, while we went through the social media responses that we got, most of the, comments highlighted the need for, accountability, transparency, monitoring at local government levels. Do you also share in this fear?
Right. In as much as we have the positive and negative aspect, and people are dwelling more on the negative aspect, I agree with them, because the EFCC, ICPC, and other anti-graft agency goes about asking governors questions, maybe after their tenure, that why do you have to do this? Why do you have to do this? Come and account. Now, the accountability now require 774 local government. That's how it's simply, because the money goes to them directly, then you have to ask them a lot of questions. But I think it's quite different. You know why? Governor has immunity. The local government chairman does not have immunity. So it makes it much more easier that you don't wait for 4 years or 3. I think they use 3 years. You don't wait for 3 years of local government chairman to ask him questions. You can actually ask him questions. Perhaps it's even easier now. By the time allocation is going to local government, there's a way during Jonathan era once allocation is given out, it is being published in a newspaper. So by the time it's published, everybody in that local government, we know that, okay, my chairman has gotten 50 million naira for A, B, C project. So it's easy to follow up. Like you follow the money. It's even easier in the grassroots because you want to see the borehole they said they will fix. You get to see the primary school they said they are collecting money for. People that does not collect salary will interface directly with their chairman of local government, because now if salary is not being paid in local government, you have to go to states, and so but now it's direct. I think to tame or reduce corruption, local government is much more easier compared to governor's office. Perhaps they still have joint accounts before, so I think to manage that will be much more easier if the money is going to them. Perhaps we should also always look at the positive. But for me, the positive outweigh the negative, because every development must start from local government. Like I said, even FCT, federal government itself, is under a local government. So a functional local government will definitely bring about a development, and well-being of people will be assured to some level. Well
said, Doctor. Especially, your thoughts or what you said about development starting from the grassroots upward and not from the top downwards. But you've made it seem as though like the positives are only what you're highlighting. Are you saying there wouldn't be any form of challenges that we should anticipate, from the local government level, or is it going to be smooth sailing going forward?
Right. Even the negative, things get involved. Now that they have the power, now you now get to see the development and how you can tackle it. So we are not saying that there cannot be corruption. Corruption in Africa is what everybody wants to try. But if you have a system that actually curb that corruption, and one of the system is for you to be transparent. That is, the federal government, there should be transparency. That this local government is getting 200 million, and these are what the project is going about. So if the transparency is there, I think there will not be problem. So we will, and perhaps most states now are still even instituting anti-graft agency. If you watch now, most states, so it's easier for even states itself to question how they expend that money. Remember, they still have state legislature, so there's a lot of way to actually check corruption. So if the governor, perhaps governor is not like a supervisor who look at what you actually do if actually you do it, because if you get 200 million, governor can call you to it and say, okay, what did you do with this amount? You can be accountable to governors. You have to be accountable to the state. So accountability even come much more easier. Citizens can follow up the project and a lot of it. But if money comes to federal government, state government, and they say they are doing XYZ in about 21 local government, it's pretty difficult to really hold governors, but it's easier to hold there. Perhaps that to contest for a local government chairman is much more difficult to contest for a senator, even House of Rep, because it's much more close to people and who know who they're actually voting for one-on-one. So I think accountability will be there to an extent.
Accountability, monitoring from the state government, monitoring from civil society organizations. Right. I mean, everyone should, be involved in this. But let's talk to issues around, the fiscal federalism going forward. We already know that we have, resources distributed across the federal, across state, and across local government levels. But going forward, in what ways will the ruling reinforce the principles of, fiscal federalism in Nigeria?
But when you say fiscal federalism, I think, being a federation, it is recognized that we have local government, we have state, and we have federal government. But the thing is this, I think is a function of the judiciary themselves to continue to uphold and hold people by the jugular. You recall that during President Muhammadu Buhari, he actually bring about executive order that local government should be good. Do you know what happened? State governors took President Muhammadu Buhari to court, and they defeated him there. So the fact remains that if the government have the will withdraw, I can tell you all what we are seeing is the disposition of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If it doesn't have the political will, it becomes a problem. So fiscal federalism also starts from the federal government, because if they have direct money to where it's supposed to be, there wouldn't be an issue. But it's easier for President Bola Ahmed to actually do this, because why? When he was governor, I think he actually allowed local government to actually operate. If you still go to state, I think Lagos State and Kaduna State have actually tried giving money direct. I mean, allowing local government to actually run directly. And we can say clearly that it actually shows in Lagos State. And people in Kaduna have never argued that maybe their fund did not go to their local government. So it's easier for you to even hold them direct. So fiscal federalism starts, in terms of a book record document, it's perfect, but operationalization of it becomes a problem. But I think with this way the federal government is going now, they can ensure we have a good fiscal federalism.
Well, Doctor, this is a lot of power, being put in the hands of local government. And Nigerians are definitely optimistic and are hoping for the best, going forward. And I'm sure Nigerians will not want to be let down, given how much power local government will have going forward. So what strategic areas would you recommend, local government, made priority? As we went through the comments, people were talking about payment of salaries, provision of basic amenities for local government, people at the local government, people at the grassroots. So, but let's hear from you now, talking about economic development, all-rounded economic development. What would be your recommendations that, these people at the helm of affairs, took seriously, especially for the benefit and welfare of Nigerians?
Well, first thing I would say is that federal government should not rest on their oars, because what they have done now, they need to consolidate what they have done. And how? But so let's dive into political economy. Now, as it is now, state governors have the total power to conduct election. Now, in that case now, because of that power, they now have under their whims and caprices who becomes the chairman of local government. Go and check it. If you have PDP states, you can't have APC local government chairman under PDP, because it's always and the problem is that they are the one who will conduct the election. It's a state. So what federal government should do, they should go beyond this autonomy. They should also ensure that INEC, national INEC, also conduct local government election. Because if I am from opposition, I want to perform, perhaps a Labour Party become a local government chairman under PDP, and he is getting the allocation directly to him. He wants to do it to impress the people of the community so that they can actually help. A good example among House of Rep people, I think one of them is from another political party in Kogi West. Do you know this person has performed? An House of Rep member, Abejide, I forgot his party now. He ensured that around that his own area, he makes sure that his political party are becoming what people
more dominant,
adhere to, people love, and before you know it, people are voting because he has performed. So that's how it will be. Except we also make sure that those local government elections, we have federal government hands in it. That's when we will bring appropriate development. If not, if a governor said, okay, you are my person, go and contest, they will still come. I've watched it on TV live when President Muhammad Buhari gave that executive order. A local government chairman from South came on TV and said, we don't want autonomy. We are okay under our governor. Do you know what that simply means? It simply means it's answerable to the governor and explain to the guy so that the governor will not stop him, becoming. Look at what is also happened in Rivers State. So a lot of things are happening, but for you to have enjoy that autonomy, the states, because if you go international, go like America, go to UK, you see some political party that you don't even know. They are the one controlling the local council. Levels. You understand? Because people believe in them and they are performing. So it's possible you may not come to the center. If INEC is the one conducting election, I can tell you some political party will not even contest for anything in federal, anything in state. They will focus on what? On local government and perform at that level. So we must try as much as possible to also make sure federal government have hand in the conduct of local government election.
But beyond the elections, like I stated, so much power being given to the local government. And what specific areas would you recommend they started, especially in the area of economic and welfare development of the people?
The fact is that I will still not agree that they have enormous power, even now. You know what? There's what is called tenement rents. All these monies are supposed to be collected by local government. It's still state government that is still collecting it. So what we could only recommend is that, as it is now, recall that every local government every year also have their own plan, their budget, what they want to do. So now, in this case now, once they are getting money, they are spending it directly. But I can tell you, it will have a positive impact on the people of that community. You know why? What local government A needs is not what B actually needs. So by doing what A actually needs, it will help. Look at a riverine area. What they need is how to do their fishery, how to do their business better. So what do? You create the appropriate security for them. You be maybe in the primary school in a particular area, you give them in the riverine area. It's only a local government chairman that will have direct understanding. Perhaps it's from that area, because I'm sure nobody will come from another place to become local government. So he will now solve his people's problem directly, and that will turn to the well-being of people. Business will thrive. People will have much economic power, and business will thrive in that area.
Well said. Talking about tailoring the solutions to the needs of the specific areas that the local government, chairmen or chairwomen come from. But Doctor, I am curious now, going forward, talking about the Federal Allocations Accounts Committee meetings that, hold monthly. Does this mean that we would also have representatives from local government coming to the Federal Capital Territory to attend these meetings, or will the state governors just still be, the representatives for each state? As
it is now, state governor will still be the representative of the local government. The difference is just you will even bring their budget and apply for them, but the money will not come directly to state account. It will just go to the local government account, and once it goes to local government account directly, that means implementation will also start directly from local government to his pressing need. But in terms of representation, the governor still remains governor. Remember, governor still have its own IGR. He still have its own allocation. He's still going to be carrying out some projects in local government. Or we state have any other place than local government to operate? He still no. So the only thing is that he or she will still represent the states, and also appropriate and ask for what is due for them. Perhaps, if not that the way Nigerian is, I think it's a good thing for governor to see that his local government is performing exceedingly well. It is so still his credit. So the only thing is, those that have done it, they have seen how beautiful it is. It's just part of greedy, of power and power of dominance, and the way our politics is being designed that give them that power. If not, if a local government chairman have the capacity, but it's quite appalling and pathetic. You know why? Most of our local government chairman rose to become governor. Wike was a former local government of Obiakpo. From there, he became a governor. From there, he became a minister. From minister, he became a governor. Now, a minister. Go to National Assembly. A handful of them also were local government. So they are expected to fight, because I listened to Ojo Zokal. He said during his time, he never interfered with local government fund. We have not seen anybody to counter him. So this is how it should be, because by the time you bring your experience of local government chairman and you are now in state or in federal, you're supposed to fight for that local government to have their independence and autonomy. So having autonomy for local government, it's a good way to go, and I think it will engender expected development.
Well said, Doctor. Well, Doctor, in the past we have seen, state government being overly reliant on these local government funds that have been coming into the state levels. But seeing that these changes have been made, what should we expect, especially from state economies?
Now, I think it will bring efficiency and sense of purpose, because now governor will know that that fund is not coming to them. They have to source for their own fund for their own project, which is a very good one. It's because they have control over the money, the local government. That's why they are not doing what they're supposed to do. But now that they know that if money is coming, is going to the local government, they will now be much more efficient, and also look at fund. Perhaps those local governments are not even well also tapped as well. So now they will now look at, since we are getting fund from the federal allocation, so the local government's accrual that has to do with tax and what have you, government, they will now look at it very well, especially VAT, that no, we have to look at, monitor it very, so it will bring much more efficiency on the part of governor to make sure that what is supposed to get from each local government you actually get, and the infrastructure is supposed to put. Now the infrastructure that will bring more money, it will now be telling the local government in their budgetary plan that, okay, no, this one will bring much more money to the state, focus on it and do it more. You know, this is the beauty of it. And a local government primary school teacher would not be waiting, you know, for state government to pay them. It should be directly from the state, from the local government. That would have solved a lot of problems, because if you go to local government, you see a lot of unpaid salary. Meanwhile, money is coming, but it's going to state, and states are varying the money to do what they call pressing projects, because that's the excuse. Now there are more other important things that we're supposed to do. You know, this is where they. So I think it's a good. Perhaps this will also help us to strengthen our security. Now, a local government will now know that I have a budgetary allocation which I can fix into security, and that would have helped also state police as well. You know, when you state now have police, know what will now happen? They will now say, okay, local government, since you have 200 police from your own area, you also to cater to some, some fund. You know, they will now come together to strengthen it. So I think it's much more of strength for states, if state governor actually look at it from that perspective.
Well said, Doctor. But I would like for us to touch on the business angle of all of this. You know, businesses, operating in local government areas and the impacts this will have. And I speak specifically around, the issue of double taxation, which is not new. But if you interact with most business people at local government areas, we talk about how they're taxed from, different people, from the state government to the local government levels, and diverse other taxes that they have to pay for. But seeing that, this verdict has come, and obviously giving local government levels, autonomy financially, what impact will this have on the business environment at local government levels?
If you look at the new tax policy by Taiwo Ayodele that's sent to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that he has actually signed, it has actually made provision on how each person will manage things, because double taxation is now a serious problem. Because if you look at telco, for instance, local government will collect from them, state will collect from them, federal government will collect from them, so also other business. But from what he said now is that 90%, okay, VAT will be collected by federal government. Federal government will now return 90% back to the state. You know why? Because if they allow that, state will collect, local government will now collect. And this will also, like I said, this will now bring efficiency. Now that local governments now know that they are collecting more revenue from federal government, they will now strengthen where they will get more internal revenue. Because they know that, okay, by the time we invest in this farm produce, in this what have you, now let's focus on it, because tax will come there more for the local government and for the state. State also will now say, okay, local government, since you are collecting direct money, this is where you will spend it. So there will be efficiency and sense of purpose. There won't be vehement, whereby these people need road. We are saying no, they need water. So it will help the local government chairman to actually determine what they actually need, and efficiency will come. So for me, I think this is a good thing to happen for in President Tinubu regime. I still see state governors still find a way to challenge those things, but I know with the political will of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the verdict from the Supreme Court, they wouldn't have much more strength to drag, but they will now demand the review of the allocation now. Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission will now have more work. You know why? State government will now say, okay, since you are now saying there are some, you are giving it to state local government directly, okay, let's review. So if they are getting 20%, they will now be asking for 25 to 30%, which is a good one, because if they are asking for more, government also will be looking for more way to actually generate revenue, which is not bad, provided you are broadening your way of getting money, not affecting people to get money negatively. So I think it's a good one, because governor will now sit tight now that I don't have much more, I need to look at this, my IGR, I need to do more, because governor have a responsibility to look at internal generated revenue. Every local government in Nigeria have one or two things which they can get money from, especially local government that have much population, like local government in FCT, local government in Kanu, even local government that have their own natural resources will now ask federal government, we are taking this from our local government, we need 2% of what you are thinking, it will bring much more efficiency, and people will keep imagining. Like I said, it's quite evolving, and it will expose people to more things.
Well said. Doctor, I have been speaking with Dr. Aliyu Iliyas, who is an economic analyst, and he has been speaking to the economic implications of the autonomy that the Supreme Court has given to local government areas in the area of managing their finances. As the Supreme Court had declared that it was unconstitutional for state governors to hold funds allocated to local government administrations. Thank you, Doctor, for breaking down this verdict by the court, and of course shedding light on what implications this will have economically at the local government levels. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on Business Daily today. Join the conversation on social media and let us hear your thoughts on this development at local government levels. My name is Chiamaka Enendu. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.